was taken away.
That's right. It's appalling because it seemed to me that was an issue so much huger than the kind of racial dimension. You know, it affected every person who was likely to have a child born in this country, and it was of course not presented in that way. I mean, if you had been told that there's this thing called the jus soli, or the law of the soil, or literally the birthright, which had been in existence for 9 centuries. And which meant that whoever you were, whether you were illegal migrants or whatever, if you were born in England, your parents' status was irrelevant. That you, by being born in England, were automatically a subject or a citizen of the country. And that had been a law which had not been a bad law. I mean, it had not been shown to malfunction. You know, there seemed to be no functional reason for removing the law. There was not very large-scale abuse of it. Or anything else. And what was more, this was a right. That's to say, it was not in the gift of the government. I mean, it was a right of each of us as individuals. That was removed by the Nationality Act and replaced with a principle whereby nationality became in the gift of the government. So what was happening was something which was our own right, which the government did not grant us, was turned into something which the government can now grant or not grant. So it was like one of our fundamental rights was being withdrawn. You know, this has nothing to do with whether one is white or black or green. You know. It's to do with a right which had existed for 900 years, and it went through on the nod, more or less. You know, I mean, a few groups, largely black, protested, but as far as everybody else was concerned, nothing particularly big was going on. And it seems to me that that's a way in which that was so because it was presented in an innocuous way. It was presented to say that this is a way of keeping unacceptable people out of the country. I mean, it was presented as a racist law and was accepted on that basis. You know, we don't want floods of Kenya nations and citizens of Hong Kong and Singapore, and let's not forget the Falkland Islands, who were also, you know, removed from British citizenship by the British Nationality Act. So, I mean, even the Tories might have had some problems with it. I gather the Tories did have some problems with it. I gather one of the concessions that was made was when groupings of Tory females went to see Mrs. Thatcher and worried about their daughters marrying South African and Rhodesian businessmen, and exemptions were made as a result.
Yes.
But by and large, they weren't.
Yes. Where are the great works of fiction exposing this these days? Where are the Orwells of race, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, exactly, yes. Where are the snows of yesteryear? You know, it seems to me that, anyway, there were never that many Orwells, you know. I mean, there was Orwell.
But it's interesting that these days that books are written about Orwell's subjects, such as deprivation, and they slip